Rappy, you're back! Any luck with the ACPU?
No, they won't let her talk and set her bail at 2 million.
Don't we automatically make that in like 24 hours from the outpost defense?
2 million core dusts. Credits in this universe are basically worthless after you hit level 200.
I still don't understand how Anise got herself locked up in NPC jail. I mean, I could understand how she could get downgraded if she was just a measly SR unit, but we important characters with SSR versions should never be put in NPC jail.
Neon, have I killed you yet today?
Yes, 6 times. So you're a little behind on your quota. Anyway, who are we going to replace her with?
Well, I made some calls, and by calls I mean Export spent the week trying to find which characters besides us she and her roommate can do impressions of. And unfortunately, she picked the worst option.
Oh no, is it Crow?
Worse.
Indivilia?
Worse.
The Rapture Queen?
Actually, that was one of the options. And she did find a cool robot voice filter, but no.
Who could be worse than the entity that almost wiped out all of... Oh, it's Marion. I really should have seen that punchline coming.
Hi guys, it's so good to see you all again.
Hi, Marion.
Hello, Marion.
Rappy tells me we're doing a tier list, and I'm so excited to help.
So what are we ranking today, Rappy?
Well, since Anise is in NPC jail, I figured we'd stick with the theme and rank which characters need to be freed from NPC jail.
Oh, being in NPC jail must be the worst. Imagine how horrible it would be not having a playable SSR unit. Instead, you'd only be useful for the plot and nothing else. I just can't imagine what that would feel like.
Me neither.
I wonder if it's too late to get the Rapture Queen.
I mean, we kind of did. Just a few years early.
Let's just get this thing started. We'll be rating characters on appearance, importance to the story, player-based hype, and how interesting their character is. To keep the list a manageable size, by NPC jail we mean Nikkes that have shown up in the story and have custom models but aren't playable. So no humans like Shifty or Cecil, and no characters with generic NPC models like Tercera from the School of Lock event. And finally, I'm not including Enik or Ink, as they're more like gameplay and plot MacGuffins than anything that would be a playable unit. Also, this script is being written in the middle of July, so if an NPC becomes playable between now and the release of this video, you don't need to point it out in the comments. We are aware.
Or do point it out. It's good for the algorithm. And it's fun pointing out when Rappy is wrong, like when she says she's the main heroine.
I'm going to kill you.
I'd like to see you try. Or maybe your better half would be more fun. Meta unit versus meta unit, instead of, well, you.
Getting some serious Next Rapture Queen vibes from you, Marion.
Let's just start this list. We'll be going more or less in order of appearance, starting with RUMANI.
Who?
Yeah, that's kind of what I expected. She's a member of Nepenthe.
Of what?
They're the sports squad that Folkwing and Epinal are in.
Is she new?
She's been in the game since launch, as part of brief encounters and as referenced in Bond stories with the other 2 members of her squad.
Oh, you're sure?
Yes, I'm sure. She goes in F tier, for being the least known member of the least featured squad. Next up is Mana, who debuted in Chapter 12. She's also in charge of the Rehabilitation Center.
A tier. I love her outfit. Her LED tie is so cool. And she's got such a strong personality.
F tier. She's the one that told the commander to wet my brain. Also, she's in charge of the Rehabilitation Center, the most hated mode in the game. And she works with Ether.
While I'd personally put her in S tier for that first point, she often serves as more of an exposition dump tool than a real character. Still, for having one of the few reserved designs in the game, and playing a key role in arguably the most important decision by the commander so far, I'll put her in B tier. Next is Rouge, the 3rd member of the 777 squad.
I can't believe she wasn't the banner character in this year's Bunny Girl event.
Seriously, she was even featured heavily in it and has always been super helpful to the commander. It's a crime she's still in NPC jail.
Agreed. For having a great design, great personality, and having been locked in NPC jail for so long, Rouge goes in A tier. Now, for the shortest Nikke on the list, where do we rank CHIME?
S tier for her food alone.
I'm so shocked she wasn't the free unit for the 1.5 anniversary. Not that I dislike Kilo. She's the best example of girl failure ever.
I think everyone was surprised CHIME wasn't the free SSR for that event, but she definitely made up for it by being amazing in the story. While she doesn't have as much hype as some of the other characters later on this list, she definitely deserves A tier. Picking up on characters whose names start with R, which is the best letter as opposed to dumb letters like M, let's talk about RIAN.
Oh, this is Suin's assistant, right? I love how she's one of the only characters that will talk back to Suin and treat her like the brat she is.
She's also the one who stole the Vophouse bullet from the central government and gave it to Suin to cure Matisse. She's literally the reason the Ploss, Drake, and Maxwell are still alive.
Agreed. For saving one of the most popular squads, and putting the Queen Brata Missilis in her place, RIAN is the top of B tier. If you think Rouge got robbed by the Bunny Girl sequel event, then the next character got shafted even harder. K.
How in the world did ShiftUp think giving D an alternate version before releasing K was a good idea?
To be fair, that alternate version of D's actually one of the best burst ones in the game. Also, did you forget K and D tried to kill the counters and kidnap me?
Oh yeah. Still, K needs justice. Justice for K! The best MIB agent.
Much like Tommy Lee Jones, K has been around forever. However, unlike him, she really doesn't have much character development despite being around so long. I'll put her in C. She needs to be released, but I don't think she's at the top of anyone's list. Now for a twofer. ZWEI and Ein.
You're combining both? That'd be like combining you and Red Hood in a discussion. One is clearly superior to the other.
Maybe I should go Red Hood on you right now and show you who—
D tier for both. They are nice characters with pretty good designs, and if they got released as a pair, it could make for a cool sequel to Naga and Tia. But I honestly don't think anyone is clamoring for them to come out. They're average. So let's move on before you two blow up the command center, please.
Fine. Next on the list is someone who's been chasing after me for a long time. Papillon.
I guess conniving floozies are drawn to each other.
Literally no one played Yula's Bond story, Rappy. The audience isn't going to get that reference.
Seeing Papillon get outplayed by Dorothy was fun. It's a shame she kind of just disappeared after chapter 20.
For her interesting character, importance to the plot, and for harassing Marion, I'll put her in B tier. Next up is one I already know is going to be controversial for her placement. LIBERALIO.
She's a heretic, which immediately makes her cooler than any non-heretics. No offense, Neon.
None taken. I know heretics, pilgrims, and summer units are all equally cool.
Exactly.
If LIBERALIO is so cool, name one thing about her besides the fact that she's a heretic, she has an umbrella, and she's sleepy. Yeah, exactly. Like I said, this is going to be controversial, but I'm putting LIBERALIO in D tier.
What?
That's a very non-main heroine thing to do, Rappy.
Yeah!
LIBERALIO shows up literally once in the entire story, rescues Nihilister, then goes and takes a nap. While her design is cool, it takes more than a good design to be a top-tier contender for release from NPC jail. We're going with D and continuing on as the hate comments roll in. Let's talk about a character that actually has character. EH.
A mysterious, tragic backstory with an unknown connection to Ingrid doesn't make a good character.
You aren't really saying you don't like EH, are you, Marion?
Oh no, EH is great. Her unknown connection to Ingrid, her complex relationship with the dark side of the Outer Rim as Heavenly Ascension's leader, and her hardcore design are all just peak. I'm just saying, not everyone who has a mysterious, tragic backstory and unknown connection to Ingrid is a good character.
Stupid mysterious childhood friend trope says what?
What?
I think we can all agree EH is going to be an amazing unit when she comes out, probably as an anniversary character. S tier.
Sticking with villains, how about INDIVILIA? Look, we all hate her guts, but let's not pretend the fanbase isn't dying for Scorpion Mommy to be released.
What are the odds she's the next rehabilitation character?
What are the odds ShiftUp even remembers that mode exists?
Fair enough. A tier. I think there's just enough legitimate hate that prevents her from making S tier.
I wanted to save this for last, but since we're going in more or less chronological debut order, now for the easiest S tier ever, LILIWEISS.
What can really be said? Arguably the most wanted character in NPC jail by a mile, even during Overzone before we saw her character design for the first time in Red Ash. She's the GOAT, the strongest Nikke ever, and the presumed current Rapture Queen.
For now.
Killing you right now would save everyone so many problems in the future.
Speaking of time travel, that is pretty much the only way we're ever getting her as a playable unit. That, or if ShiftUp needs a month where they make more money than Honkai and Genshin combined.
Safe to say, the top of S tier. And continuing on the train of obvious S tiers, ANACHIRO, also known as Cinderella.
Probably the only character that could give LILIWEISS a run for her money in terms of being the most desired character in NPC jail.
And unlike LILIWEISS, we realistically could get her as a playable character before the heat death of the universe.
While my Red Hood side wants to put a bullet between her eyes, there's no denying she is absolutely peak. The real question is, does she go above LILIWEISS?
It's a tough choice, but I'd say yes. Like Neon said, ANACHIRO is actually likely to be released from NPC jails sooner rather than later. Plus, She'll be very useful in helping me take down the Rapture Queen and claim my throne.
The Pilgrims were terrible babysitters.
Because they made me a horny, bug-eating alcoholic?
No, because they didn't drown you in the nearest river.
Top of S tier for ANACHIRO.
Finishing up with Pilgrims and Heretics, what do we think of Rose?
She's got to also be S tier, right? I mean, people love Scarlet, and she's like Scarlet but stronger.
Actually, she's not. While it's true in their original bodies Rose was stronger, Scarlet both has a new upgraded body since they last fought and 100 years of extra training.
Also, aside from being Scarlet's sister and having a tragic death, is there really anything special about her character? Do we really want a nearly indistinguishable copy of Scarlet Black Shadow?
D tier. At best she'd be a basic reskin. You know, like Rappy's White Promise skin.
Moving on from what were mostly high-tier Pilgrims, let's do the complete opposite with Flora.
Who?
I have no idea who this is.
She showed up in chapter 27 for like 5 seconds.
Oh.
So F tier.
Yeah, I wouldn't even know who this was if it wasn't for the wiki. And now for the world's biggest homewrecker, LIVERYN.
Wouldn't Sakura take that title after the summer event?
So Rappy hates this character? S tier.
Do you have to be so blatant about our comedic dynamic?
Sorry, Marion, but while I'm sure LIVERYN will be released from NPC jail relatively soon due to how much the latest chapters focus around her, she really is an annoying character.
Thank you, Neon. LIVERYN plays the victim while hurting others, all because she wanted to live the rich life. She constantly lies and is being set up to steal Hammering's head and potentially unleash a crystal plague on the Ark. F tier.
ShiftUp is clearly setting her up to have a redemption arc, and the sports leggings aren't exactly hurting her popularity with the fans. C tier.
Speaking of hammering, where do we place her?
She's actually a fun side character who is willing to fight off a literal pilgrim while being seriously injured herself. That's got to be worth something.
I suppose you would think fighting pilgrims is tough. She seems nice enough, but out of all the characters on the list, is anyone really clamoring for her to be released?
Like Rappy said, she's a nice side character, but aside from her heroics, she really is the definition of an average supporting character. C tier.
You mentioned Grave. Where are we ranking her?
Is she in NPC jail? I mean, you can already play her earlier version, Product 23.
There is no way Grave is Pine. That's a ridiculous fan conspiracy theory.
Check out the fan conspiracy theory tier list linked in the title card above and in the description below after this video's over. It's got some wild stuff, like Rappy being Frisia.
Didn't the devs shoot that down?
We aren't going over this again. You'll have to watch the tier list to find out. Back to Grave. She's definitely an interesting character with a ton of mystery around her. How'd she get the 7 dwarfs? What's her connection to ANACHIRO? Why does she talk like she has brain damage yet still sounds more coherent than Marion?
Hey, I grew out of that. You try getting your brain reset.
For having such a cool design and being shrouded in mystery, Brave goes into the bottom of S tier.
Getting near the end here, how about Suin Jr., also known as Drilly?
She really did come off as a rude, arrogant, impatient brat early on, but it was understandable since she just wanted to save her friend. And by the end of the chapters, she is such a likable character.
The power loader armor straight out of Aliens is pretty cool too.
C tier. The power loader design is cool, but much like her squad mate Hammering, nothing about her screams must pull.
And now, for someone almost as emo as Rappy, Fragile.
How am I emo?
Do you remember your character PV trailer?
Well, I'm the only one who survived. Only me. But for what am I still living?
Wow, Rappy, that's pretty cringe.
And yet I'm still somehow less bipolar and insane than Fragile. D tier?
I was going to say C, but her design isn't exactly anything special. D tier works.
Last is Sam from Honkai Star Rail.
We can only hope she'd be as broken as Firefly.
And like Firefly, Black Arc Ranger would be an amazing addition to the game. Imagine having her transform between her standard appearance and her Arc Ranger uniform during her burst. And even though she's had little screen time, she really left an impact. Plus, the Feet Queen loves her.
Yep, if we can get a Gundam with Kilo and Talos, we can get a Sentai Ranger with Black Arc Ranger. A tier.
And that's it for the tier list. If you have any suggestions...
Hey, I do the outros.
If you have any tier list ideas, leave them in the comments below, along with any other characters you'd like to see co-host the lists with us. They don't even need to be Nikke characters, as long as Export can find someone on Discord to do an impression of them.
Hit the like button, and check out the other tier lists and fan songs on the channel, and share the video around. It really helps the channel.
And most importantly, don't forget to subscribe for more Nikke content. See you next time, Commander.
Congrats to Live Your Life 8042 for being the first to spot the Easter egg hidden in Alec's theme song video, Lock and Load. And thanks to everyone for your continued support.
You'll steal from me, you'll lie for me, you'll kill for me, you'll die for me. I'm sad, taste my silver tongue.
Oh yes.
I'm the patron of love.